anticipating that well, left-handed hand bounce. And the kick looking for captain coach Ebert, all one-hand screamer, and it's paid on the half-forward line. Knight is wide, Ebert short, oh here he is in the goal square, unattended is Tim Evans. Down to Russell Ebert, magnificent control, into the centre area and the chest of Marnie. Slips it nicely to the running Bradley. He in turn, oh this is champagne football.
He could almost kick it from here. One-on-one situation in the square. He's putting it up for that situation. Winter in front, Evans behind at the back of the pack. Here's a chance now for Ebert. I think he's done it! Great goal. Craig Ebert bounding away. Second bounce. He'll give the handball over. No, kicks long in towards the forward pocket. Well taken there by Russell Ebert, his brother. Twist, turn, back towards full forward. Oh, what a mark!
Got the best of kicks, although the ball holding up, Tim Evans. Can he kick his 8? All he's got to do is stand up. Tries to get the free kick, but he ducked the head. Players trying to kick off the ground. They can't. Russell Ebert turns around and pops it through very casually. His first goal.
Russell, Motley, handball away. Anderson hooks around the corner, getting back under Ebert. Ebert, oh what a mark! What a brilliant mark, falling away from the ball. He's got it 35 metres out. We'll back him in from here. But Russell Ebert knows how to dispatch a ball. The kick underway. The umpire does not move.
With a long handball which went straight through Dwayne Russell. But like a bulldozer, he clears the pack. And it was great work, Hellier. Russell Ebert picked it up. What a great kick for goal. Superb kicking, Russell Ebert.
Stephen Williams in towards the half-forward line. Russell Ebert, good mark, plays on. Drives towards the open goal. The umpire said he's done it. A nice looking kick. Belton has played well. Evans got one hand. Ebert drives in towards goal. What a magnificent kick. The umpire is motionless except to indicate that Russell Ebert's got his second goal. In the end, Thomas went for it. Johnson picked it up. He should have been the ruckman, but the bounce wasn't a good one. Russell Ebert, 30 metres out. Steady, twist, turn. He's still got it.
Evans is coming in late. Off hands, tapped through by Bradley. Chance now for Belton. Belton's going to go over the top. Now what's Ebert going to do? He turns, snaps away, and I think he's popped it through. He has. The captain coach has got one.
We spoke to the champion himself, Russell Ebert, the man who's won 4 Magarey medals, about the past, present and future.
Russell, what age did you start to take an interest in football?
Well, our family's been involved in sport and football ever since I can remember, so probably even before I could walk.
When you were very young, did you play football just for the fun of it, or even at that stage, did you have an idea that Russell Ebert one day might be a special footballer?
No, I think every youngster should just play for the fun of it at that age, because if you go out and are commanded or demanded to do things at that age, well, I think your interest will wane pretty quickly. So if you do it for a fun thing at the start and then get more competitive as you get a little bit older.
Russell, you've worked very, very hard on your skills as an older person. What about in those young years, your attitude towards training as a young person?
Well, it's at an early age with your skill training, it's really getting the ball and kicking it. I don't think a real emphasis was placed on skill at the 7, 8, 9, 10-year-old level, but as soon as you start playing junior, senior colts and onwards, that's when your skill level has to improve.
When did you start to think about developing your special skills?
Probably the development of the extra skills and the extra training started when I was around about 16, 17 years old and just coming into senior football. At that age, once again, in the country, you're playing against seasoned, experienced men who know all the tricks and traits. So you realise then that just getting the ball and getting rid of it isn't enough. You've got to develop every facet of the game to its fullest extent, otherwise you just don't last against men. And playing against men in A-grade football in the country at the age of 16, 17, you suddenly, you quickly learn that you must develop everything to the fullest, otherwise you just don't survive. Probably the biggest influence once again came from the family. and my father being a captain and coach of various country sides probably influenced my career and just the general family involvement in sport and wanting to enjoy it, compete and hopefully win.
Which league clubs approached you first, and how did they get to know about Russell Ebert?
When I was at Wakery, most of the league clubs were out on the prowl then, interviewing and trying to recruit players because there wasn't the situation of restricted boundaries and zones at that stage. So any player that had sort of any sort of potential was interviewed by league clubs. And at that stage, I was at Wakery in 1967, and a lot of the league clubs came up and spoke or corresponded, and most of them have their spies and recruiting officers in the different areas, particularly in the Riverland where I came from and the southeast and probably Port Augusta, the west coast. They've all got one or two people who are interested in young players who are coming up and try and channel them to various league clubs. So probably the league clubs got to hear about the various players through those channels. I was contacted by letter and then personally approached by the recruiting officer.
What made you join Port Adelaide?
Well, Port Adelaide at the time had a very good source in the country, and there was a couple of chaps in the Riverland who were very port-minded, and they just kept hounding, and probably that was the reason that I went to Port. But to fit into the side, that wasn't really a huge step either, because at that stage Eric Freeman was selected to represent Australia in the cricket, and he was at full forward, and when I came down to do a little bit of the summer training and early trial matches, they basically groomed me for full forward, which I was real pleased about. And there was an opening in the side at full forward because of Eric Freeman's commitments with cricket overseas. So with the encouragement of the other players, I fitted in there.
Also, young footballers have football heroes. Now, when you first joined Port Adelaide, were there any players in particular that were part of that team that you'd looked up to?
No, not really. I'd heard the names, of course, but really didn't appreciate that league existed because of my involvement in country football and the family involvement. I had brothers playing, one playing A grade, one playing B grade. I was playing senior Colts. The younger brother was playing junior Colts. So really our commitment was to the Loxton Football Club at that stage, where we were all playing and all involved. And really I didn't become aware of league football till probably 1966, 67.
The great Port Adelaide tradition, we hear about it so much. What effect did that have on your game, do you think, when you look back now, playing for Port Adelaide? Do you think Russell Ebert would have been a different player had he been at another club?
Oh yes, you'd have to say that, because anyone who's worn the black and white Guernsey appreciates that there is a difference, and when you get such a solid club, player-wise, administration-wise, tradition-wise, well then it's got to rub off. And this is what all the other clubs strive for, is to get that little bit extra that we know, and it's probably hard to explain, but it is definitely there in the Guernsey and the club.